Alright, everybody, we're going to be talking about Update 34, the recent patch notes that are dropped for the new High Isle that's coming out, this new expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got both of us this time. That hasn't happened in a little while.
Yeah, we used to do this more regularly, and then we started sucking.
So yeah, like Spy said, life happened.
Life happens.
Like Spy said, we're going to be talking about the High Isle chapter and Update 34, which you can go to the Elder Scrolls Online website and click into the ESO forums at this link right here, and it'll take you to the patch notes.
A lot of cool updates coming in this one. We're going to see a lot of class fixes. We're going to see a good amount of sets. Yeah, let's just jump into it, yeah.
So, another thing too, I'll make sure to put timestamps at the, for the general topics, in case there's something that you're more interested in seeing or hearing about.
Yep, so just check those down below.
Yeah. Alright, so in the High Isle chapter, we're going to be getting a new zone.
Through the archipelago. It's, I don't know how you say that. Centuries? I believe that's
that
centuries.
That would be the
Sistrus?
Yeah, Sistrus archipelago.
Yep. Which there are...
It looks like there's actually two islands.
Yep, 2 of the 4 islands. We're going to be going there. It seems there's going to be a new character tutorial as well for new players.
Yeah.
Which we get one of those every expansion.
Right.
A new place where you start. That way, you know, whenever you make a character, you'll be jumping right into the new zone.
So, let's see here. In addition to the main story, the High Isle chapter is also going to have 6 delves, 4 on High Isle and 2 on the nearby Aminos, each with its own Sky Shard boss and associated content. 6 world bosses, 2 public dungeons,
Crimson Coin. Ooh, the ancient spire of the Crimson Coin. That's a really cool name for a dungeon.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited for the Breton stuff that we're going to see. I expect a lot of towers, a lot of wizards and stuff like that. We're going to probably see a whole lot of magic being used as well from people who are even stamina classes, as we'll get into.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the game is... This one, I'm excited for this. It definitely does a lot of balancing to some things that needed to be balanced.
Yeah, Dragon Knights didn't get hit hard enough, though, sadly enough.
You're not going to be able to hit a Dragon Knight hard enough to...
Not in one patch, no, it takes a series.
Yeah. 3 new crafted sets, 9 full-length objective quests, and a lot of independent content quests.
I wish I did more questing. I think that's what I really want to focus on more on this current expansion coming up. Questing and raiding. And you'll see more from that from us, here soon.
Yeah. We got some stuff going on, stuff and things. So
stuff and things.
Yeah.
Oh, it says here you can use a boat or a cart outside Eldenroot, Mournhold, or Wayrest to go to the Gonfallion docks, which I guess is the new starting area of it. Probably where you'll be starting actually if you make a new character. So if you don't know how to get there, that's how you'd get there, through Eldenroot, Mournhold, or Wayrest, the 3 major cities. They apparently have a new boat.
Yeah, I'm going to guess it'll be a lot like Blackwood, where you started right outside that area.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably also use a way shrine as well.
Yeah, there is something in here about being able to travel.
To anyone that as long as your friend's already there, you can travel to them. That's opened up automatically.
Alright, right here. Enter the zone with an existing character by one of the following means. You can use a way shrine to enter High Isle near the city of Gonfalon Bay.
Or use the boat, or travel to a friend. Yeah.
So...
I know I'm going to just travel to you.
It looks like we're going to have some dolmen type.
Hold on real quick. They say many independent content quests unique distractions, and many other wilderness and city encounters throughout the zone. Now that's something I haven't seen anything really about, but that's kind of strange to imagine we're gonna have like city encounters. That could be pretty cool. They could do some stuff with that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they'll be doing with that, but maybe that's a hint.
So it looks like so we got like I'm trying to think of the name of the ones in Somerset, the geysers.
Yeah,
So we have the geysers. You got Harrow Storms.
Well,
you
most
got
zones have their own
dolmens.
little like unique distractions, as they said here. But I'm not sure if we've ever had like city encounters.
Well, it looks
Really?
like what they're adding here is volcanic vents and lava vents.
Oh, so we're gonna be doing a lot more primal kind of magic as well. I'm expecting a lot of flame then.
And let's see here, Tales of Tribute. Now I've got mixed feelings about this card game because I'm hoping it doesn't pull enough distraction from the player base that everybody lives in the card game. I do think it's an interesting take. It's not just a collectible card. It's not like a collection card game. It's a competitive card game.
Yeah, it does seem that you will be collecting some cards. There are things called patron decks, as well as, it says here, every unlockable card has some cards which can be replaced with new, more potent ones you may discover in Tamriel. Some deck upgrades have abilities you won't find elsewhere. I mean, I think that'll be fun for people who are looking for maybe a bit more of a casual experience as well, because Final Fantasy offers a whole lot of things like this. I mean, they have like essentially a slot machine in the game, but it's not that extreme. It's with gold, and those kind of systems are fun for long-time players. There's something for long-time players to do whenever they've ran out of everything else, as well as bringing in a casual audience, which will overall increase the amount of people you're going to play with.
Right.
I mean, a casual audience isn't always bad.
No, it is not. It is probably their bread and butter, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and that's, World of Warcraft, it always had a casual base to it, and that's why it survived so long. Right. Is that it's all about having player numbers, and player numbers mean that we get more bosses, we get more dungeons, we get more raids for people who want to do that. Right. The more people that come in, the more content we get to do. Right.
We'll also be getting 2 new companions, which in all honesty, I have not done much with the companion system. I did get my companion that I chose to max level, and that's about it.
It seems that they're going to be, let's see.
So you got Ember and Isabel?
Yes. Or, I guess that's how you would say it. You may have either a companion or an assistant active, I guess now. Companion collectives. Oh, they're just telling you how to use it. Yeah. Ember's Intuition provides a chance to acquire hidden wallets of gold when pickpocketing, while Isabel's Grace gives a chance to recover the pack of a slain knight when defeating world bosses that can contain various supplies. Right. So it seems Isabel's going to be for the crafters, whereas Ember's going to be for the people who are really, really tired of Bastion telling them not to steal. Yeah.
Let's see. What's the Dark Elf companion?
Miri.
There you go, Miri. Yeah. So her passive would give you a chance to find like hidden loot anytime you would open a chest. Yeah. And it could be, I guess, a multitude of things.
Companions overall, I think, have been a great addition. I've used them here and there. I haven't had mine fully leveled, mostly just because I don't play with one. Right. Like, I don't actively play with one. Right. I used to play with one when the companion system came out for the extra loot, because we used to get, remember how expensive companion loot was when they came out.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It was insane. Yeah. Now the traits have been filtered out and people know what they want, so it's not so horrendously bad out there. Right. I do think that each new companion that they add, I think that's great that they're adding on to this existing system. Many MMOs move past their systems per expansion, whereas ESO continues them, especially as we'll see later on with the Antiquity system.
Right. I think the companion system would be more. I don't really know. I don't have any suggestions personally, but I think as it stands right now, it's just kind of like a passive feature that you can choose to partake in.
Yeah.
I know if you get
it's not necessarily super big. Because,
no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, you got 2. We're getting 2 more. That's 4. Which is, it's cool because it makes solo content like slightly easier. You can set up a healer companion, things like that.
That's what I normally do. Bastion set up as a healer. If I'm trying to run content and I can't get one of you guys to jump on duo with me, sometimes I'll throw Bastion out, and he can help you make it over a couple hurdles here and there. Some bosses do too much damage to my warden, so that helps. Especially when you build DPS. DPS companions are really going to be where they really shine.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see it extended. I hope Ember and Isabel are not so picky about bugs as well.
Yeah, that is irritating because like Torchbug Thorax, man. And
bringing it back as well, they are also adding in a thing. I saw this on the patch notes, where they're going to make it a little bit easier to not accidentally activate them.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I'm not sure exactly where it's at on the patch notes. I read this a little bit back, but like when the patch notes came out. And I was looking at it, and apparently companions are going to be less likely for you to accidentally activate, which is great. You have to be looking at them, I believe, now, or something like that. The companion system, though, it has been fun. It doesn't hurt the game, and it's definitely fun to, play dress up.
Yeah, because you're standing out in Fargrave and everybody's got their companion out and they're all like dressed the same and everything. It's a neat feature of the game. Expanded upon, I'm not exactly certain how they should.
I think just more companions. I think
if they do expand upon it, because there's quests that are related to the companions if you get there. If they like you enough.
Right.
I forget what that disposition or whatever. Yeah, the rapport system with them.
I do think that I'm happy to see more of the races in the game with these companions as well. I don't remember which races these 2 are, but I know they are not Dark Elf or Imperial.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just continuing to supply with this companion system. I think the companion system's been great for the game. A lot of people were very worried about it because it was very single player focused, but as we were saying just a minute ago, this does help the casual audience, which in turn makes the game better.
And it helps. So they maintain their level across your account, right? So if you've like Miri, I have max leveled. So if I start a new character and I go get Miri, she's max level.
And that's another thing as well as with like champion point systems as well. So it helps with leveling a lot as well. And you can make an extra bit of gold selling the equipment.
You can, yes. Let's see here. It says Ember is a streetwise spellcaster, and I'm not even going to try because that...
Darach.
Yeah, see, I'm going to murder it. But it's just north of Gonfalon Bay. And then Isabel is an honorable knight aspirant.
Yeah, she's found at Castle Nerevar.
So, yeah.
That's what my brain said first, but
we're back in Morrowind.
We're back in Morrowind, guys. We gotta get that sign that says to talk about it, so we won't.
Right. Let's see here. Moving on, we're getting a new trial, Dreadsail Reef.
Oh, there's a unique mount out of it as well. Mm-hmm. As well as body and face markings, several titles, and unique housing items.
Yeah. So all the, stuff that I guess most trials are expected to come with, or we're moving at least in that direction.
I definitely like to see the new mounts being added. There's a lot of, I've seen a whole lot of different mounts out in the game. It feels like more often now.
Yeah.
Which is really nice because I've made that complaint before where a lot of things is you just have a horse.
Yeah.
But I do like to see high-end rewards for high-end players.
Right. Well, and there was a thing too, like, so because this is a chapter, it's not a DLC. Like, even if you
Right.
sub, you're not just gonna get it, right?
Yes, you do have to
But-
buy the expansion itself.
So with they had a pre-order special or promo going on for a little bit, where if you pre-ordered it, you got a specific mount, and I'm gonna guess that may be the only way you get that mount.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. They typically add a pre-order bonus with a mount in it,
Yeah.
as well as a costume and a pet. For your money's worth, it's not bad. If you plan to already be playing the expansion, you might as well pre-purchase it, I'd imagine.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're not sure, I mean, I always say for the consumer, hold off, until you feel comfortable buying it.
Right.
If you don't feel like buying into the pre-order, don't do it.
Yeah. I'll add this one thing that happens. I believe I know it happened to me. When you overload yourself with things to do, you
Yes.
don't do anything,
Yes.
and you feel like you're doing a lot, so you're not actually achieving anything. I now have a character that I've run through. It's an Ebon Heart Pack character that I have run through the main storyline most of the way through the Daggerfall Covenant storyline at this point. Like, I completed Ebon Heart Pack. I'm in DC now.
Yes.
Um,
And I think that doing the main storylines and stuff, I mean, it's kind of one of those things you're gonna want to do no matter how long you play. You want to go through the quest lines, and there is an order in which you should do the quest lines.
There's an order that allows them to make a little bit more sense if you go about it that way.
You stretch your Elder Scrolls lore just a little bit, and you can definitely enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just not the main companion, or not the main companion, main storyline.
Right.
With the whole Cold Harbor stuff.
Yeah.
That's a mess.
But so the I know when Blackwood came out, my main character has literally not done a main story.
No,
I
still haven't gotten into really that much into Blackwood. I've done the zones, I've done the dungeons, I've done all the major content.
Right.
But I've very, very little on the actual the land itself.
Right.
I've done a whole lot in the Deadlands. I've done a whole lot in Fargrave.
Right.
But Blackwood itself, I kind of ended up skipping over most of it. And when Fargrave came out, I mean that Hexos gear, I had to go get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people likely felt the same. So we are on to the new item sets, which are fairly interesting. So it was mentioned some balance has been brought to the game, but at the same time,
we've kind of made a little bit of a step towards a good direction though for Wardens, because we're gonna see a whole lot of new frost damage coming in. A lot of frost damage sets in this one.
So we got 3 new Overland sets. Blessing of High Isle, which is a light set, so you get 2 Magicka bonuses, max Magicka bonuses, 1 Magicka recovery bonus, and then this down here is very unique in my opinion. When you're healed while in combat, you increase your weapon and spell damage by 369 for 5 seconds.
I believe there is a set that is similar. I believe there is a set that is similar, but I don't believe it is that easy to proc.
Right.
I can't remember the set off the top of my head.
You're just getting if you get hit with a heal, right? So,
and then that's always going out. So it's a continuous 365 or 369 extra damage.
And it doesn't mention a cooldown period.
No,
right?
there is no cooldown.
5 seconds.
As long as you have a healer running with you, you gain an extra 370 roughly weapon and spell damage, which is great. I'm liking that weapon and spell damage are stacked on top now. Beforehand, you remember, it used to just be spell damage on light armor.
Yes.
So now we're seeing that be fully.
You had your Magicka character sets. You had your stamina character sets. You couldn't really there was no. Yes. There was. You
and
could if you tried real hard to mix and match.
Yes.
But if I say try real hard. If you really thought it out well, you could mix and match. But now it's far more
universal.
Conducive. Yeah. It's way more universal.
And since the armory update, it's been going that way.
Yeah.
Where a lot of sets are, and now when they're coming out with sets, they are weapon and spell damage typically,
Yeah.
and they're not going to be, trying
even most of the skills that you slot, they get
they get either bonuses from your weapon or your spell, or they balance off either depending on which is your dominant stat.
Right. So we have Steadfast Metal. It is the medium set, stamina recovery bonus, 2 max stamina bonuses. And this is interesting. While you have a food buff active, reduce the cost of your core combat abilities by 25%.
Right, so that is your dodge roll, that is your block, that is your stuff like that. That's going to be unique. I could see that being a tanking set even. Medium armor on the tank. I mean, I know there's a lot of tanks that aren't running medium anymore, but you may be able to get away with it in some kind of dungeons with that.
It's real uncommon.
That's even good for stealth players as well. If you plan to make a Nightblade kind of like mine, which you guys will see a build on that soon.
I think this is going to make PvP interesting a little bit, because then you don't, you really have to manage resources on certain classes for certain things, right?
Especially if you're a mana caster, if you're predominantly mana, you will definitely see a difficulty whenever you only have 17k stam and you're having to block, or you're having to you have
to make sure that you have 6,000 stamina at all times. To you got a safety dance. Can use the ability to swap resources, right?
Yep, and not only that, but you also have to be able to dodge roll and stuff like that. So this is all around a good one. This is a good set for anyone who is looking for a movement-based character.
So the heavy Overland.
I want to read this one because I think this is going to become a DPS set for my Warden, and I know it's heavy. So we're going to get 1,000 max magicka, stamina, and health. Actually 1,200 max health. When you bash an enemy, you're going to place a scowl on them, alright, for 15 seconds. When hit by a light attack, the target will take 2,000 frost damage up to once a second. And for Wardens, there just isn't very much frost damage sets that are very good. Mix this with Frostbite, I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Especially in PvP. And if you rock something like Iceheart as well, I mean, you're just going to have a continuous AoE of frost all around you.
This one here hurts my brain a little bit.
Oh no.
I like the crafted sets.
Yeah.
I do. But listen.
You talking about advanced training?
Yeah. So I feel like Druid's Braid is the trainee pieces.
And it's because they've added in all these 1 and 2 and 3 piece sets recently.
Yeah,
this is what this is for.
I fully believe this is aimed at PvP more so than anything else, because
same thing as with Steadfast Metal. Yeah,
it's this one more so than anything else probably, or any other set that they put on here, because sometimes you put a PvP build together and you got that one slot that doesn't, it doesn't do anything. And
it's a flat across 3,000 of every stat.
Yeah, right.
Or not 3,000, sorry.
It's 1,500 health, 1,400 magic, 1,400 stamina, rinse, repeat.
And it's 4 times. That's 6,000 is what I mean to say.
Right.
6,000 of every main stat that you're going to be using. I mean, I'm trying to think. Does even Crafty Alfiq have 6,000 magicka on it?
Yeah, but you're
dedicating it because it's 5 piece, so you're actually not spending as much to get all of it.
Right.
But with this set, if you were to run 12 pieces of it, which is your entire armor set, you're gonna turn out really well. I mean, you could even run this entire set and take off 3 of the pieces, so you'd have a 9 piece. You could run a Stormfist or Selene or whatever you feel like there. Zons, I know and then
Zons is getting listen. Zons is broken now.
And then you could throw one of these new mythic items that we're going to get into in a minute on top of that.
Yeah.
And you really could build a character out with this that is focused down to an extreme level.
When we get to the mythic items, I'm going to say this. I will be real surprised if I don't run across somebody that's got 11 pieces of this on and one of the mythics.
Yeah, I'm going to be surprised too. This is a great set though, all around.
So, and then we got Order's Wrath.
I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, I like this one.
This makes me think of like Tazavigans, but better. Like, I think it's better than Tazavigans.
So you got 657 crit chance twice, 129 weapon and spell damage. Then the 5-piece actually has 2 bonuses.
Yeah.
943 crit chance, and then also increases critical damage and critical healing by 8%. Now, that does a couple of things. It could free up, it's like Medusa, right? It could free up an ability.
It could.
Because then now you don't have to run something that gives you the force buff, right?
Right. You don't have to run. You're
giving up 2%.
You're giving up 2%, which is not extreme, especially for the amount of crit you're about to get off of this, which is roughly I don't know, 20%-ish.
So,
or less than that, 15.
There's a lot of places I can see putting this.
Yes.
Because of what it does.
Yeah, and it's passive as well. There's nothing you have to proc. There's nothing you have to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's just flat, adds it. You know, it's like the Medusa set. It just you get the minor force buff all the time. So
and I can see this a different way as well, though. This does not say minor buff.
No, it doesn't. You could still run it.
Yeah.
You can stack that. Now you have 18%.
You could absolutely stack minor and major force if you had someone with Warhorn and get a total, what would it be? 38% extra crit and damage healing.
Yes.
Out of just wearing this and 2 abilities.
This is actually going to have to make, this set right here will actually have to make you think about where you're pulling crit damage from.
Yes.
Like, it's going to make you think about your CPs different, right?
Yeah,
because champion points give, like, you got backstabber and fighting finesse, right?
Yeah.
So that is 25% if you're behind somebody.
I mean, wearing this with Medusa as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would have 18% extra crit damage and healing if you added on. If you were a Khajiit, you'd end up with 30% just baseline.
Right.
I mean, that's extra 30% baseline. That's before you add weapons. That's before you add anything else. That is purely just damage that you can take advantage of now.
And it's what'll make it interesting is to see how this gets integrated with. Because of the crit damage cap, right?
Yeah. And I think this might end up replacing part of the Warden pieces. So, it's really good.
Oh yeah, that's a good set. Like, I'm gonna put this on a build. It's gonna happen.
I'm not sure I could get rid of Deadly Strikes right now, but maybe go on the Necro. Maybe I'll get rid of Automatons, his hand-me-down legendaries.
I don't know, man. Like, we're gonna get there too.
We will.
This is gonna be a little bit of lengthy video, so that's why the timestamps and stuff. We're just gonna go through everything that seems interesting.
Serpent's Disdain, though. Yeah. Look at this.
So Serpent's Disdain.
That's sick. It's 1,000 extra stamina. Sorry, 1,200 extra health, 1,000 extra magicka, right? And then at the 5-piece. Increases the duration of status effects you apply by 16 seconds. That is a 46 second card.
That's lovely.
46 second card.
Yeah.
My question is, there is a buff or a status effect. I mean, that is applied by only one class.
Yeah.
And it's necromancers.
Yep.
Does that extend this? Because if
I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't.
Right. And so it says status effects. Now, the question is, does that apply to burning, chilled, all that stuff? But does it also apply to stuff like Hemo? Because we're going to see a Hemo set soon.
Think about... Alright, so I know burning, in general, burning does more damage per tick.
Yes.
Poisoned ticks longer.
Yes.
Right? And it's very close in damage amount.
Which means that
generally,
what happens when poison gets 16 extra seconds, though?
Right. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt real bad. Like Dragonites, stamina Dragonites.
The scariest thing about all this,
real bad,
is whenever we start seeing brittle applied.
Yes.
Which
is, by the way, major brittle is now a thing.
Yes. Beforehand, it was not in the game.
Right. It was a mentioned buff. now it is an actual thing.
So now
Like,
you can apply
or
major
debuff,
brittle,
I guess, and it
you
buffs
can
you.
receive major brittle. And with that, I don't necessarily think anyone wants to receive
No.
a 16. Well, it would be longer than that, wouldn't it? How long is major brittle? 8 seconds.
So brittle would last as long as chilled, I believe.
I believe so. I don't believe you can apply chilled for. I played Frostward, I should know this. Nonetheless,
I think most magical status effects are roughly like 5 seconds.
Yeah, so let's say 5-6 seconds, right? Let's say you got a roughly 20-second
Yeah.
brittle, major brittle.
Yeah.
You have that's 20% extra crit damage.
And minor brittle.
Yes, and minor brittle, so it's an extra 30%.
Yeah.
So if you were to do this,
See, this is
and
where
then
crit
run-
damage is getting kind of weird,
Yeah.
fucky,
and then
like,
you ran Order's Wrath, right? And you were a Khajiit, you'd end up with a 50% extra crit damage by just applying a single brittle status effect.
Yeah.
If with all this, and that's for 20 seconds. It's a ridiculous sets that these all work really well together as well.
They do. That's the synergy of these sets is actually quite impressive to me.
Yes.
Especially given some of the builds that I would like to see in the game. Like,
these are sets
know
that
when
I
I
couldn't
made-
have even asked for. These are really, really good sets.
yeah, they are.
Like,
the
these
ones
aren't
that we
Grizzly
got-
Gourmet. These aren't Grizzly
No,
Gourmet.
no.
We did the patch notes for that, and I remember us kind of laughing about that one.
It's kind of, like, they're gonna add some sets. Like, not every set can be so OP, and like, I don't think
Right.
these are OP necessarily. I think
these
'cause you
are
do have a
pretty
crit
well
damage
balanced.
cap,
Yeah, these are
you know?
balanced pretty well.
But like, I had mentioned, like, whenever I was when I made the video on how to like efficiently level a character in a way in which, instead of just power leveling through dolmens, in a way in which where you actually get, you acquire skill points enough to sustain the build. By the way,
Yes.
whatever build you might be going for. I had mentioned building a Frost DPS. He's
A warden.
warden who's a Breton.
Perfect to play Breton now. Perfect timing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but like these things, some of these like buffs and stats and whatnot, like they cater to that.
They do.
And it's something that wasn't easy to pull off, and it still may not be easy to pull off.
It's the one thing that held me
there's
back
skill
from
changes.
making my warden a frost warden.
Yeah.
And now I actually have a second spec as a frost warden,
Right.
which is we'll get into that.
So
We got
the trial
trials.
sets are real interesting.
So, all right, you go ahead and I'll let you read the first one. I want to read the. All right, go ahead. You go ahead.
All right.
There's one of them with the hemo status I want to read because I think it's stupid.
So yeah. So we got Whirl of the Depths, which is a light set. Weapon and spell damage bonus, minor slayer at all times.
Another weapon spell damage.
Yeah, crit chance.
That's only for
perfected only.
Yes. We should state already. We'll go ahead and say this. The 5-piece bonuses for all of these. The set bonus, the last one that we read, will be available without perfected.
Right.
But there is raw stat on the 5-piece that will only come from perfected. We're just gonna go ahead and read it as it is.
Right.
As perfected versions, expecting that most of us probably won't get it.
So when you deal damage with a light attack, you apply Whirl of Depths to the target, dealing frost damage.
Yes.
Over 8 seconds. When this effect ends, a 5-meter whirlpool is created under the target for 6 seconds, dealing frost damage every 1 second.
Yeah, it
can occur every 18 seconds and scales off the higher of your weapon or spell damage.
Which is so good because
so we have a damaging.
Oh,
this is a DPS set because it's minor slayer, right?
Yes, this is a badass set.
And it's frost.
Yes.
It's not, like you got, the Silks of the Sun, you got all the flame sets, you got lightning sets.
This is where Frost
we are
is
now
shine.
getting frost sets.
And I'm really happy about it because
yes,
Frost has needed it.
It
And with all this recent balancing and adaptation and allowing people to mix and match, Wardens are now realizing that they can mix Frost in and get good results from it.
It's a thing that has been needed, and not having very many options, I think, has deterred.
Yeah.
I started the build that I started prior to, all this, but like this is
You
like,
really
this
can
is
get a
gonna,
mixed build now. You really can.
You can.
Yeah.
You absolutely can. Yes.
This is if you were wanting to make a hybrid build where it is mana and stamina, there's never been a better time in Elder Scrolls Online.
I got a half blade coming, by the way.
He's real proud of
Spy
it.
doesn't like it because it's
don't
not a
like
sneaky
it.
snack build, but he's gonna be a half blade.
It's all right. You bring him over to my night blade. We'll see how it goes.
It's all right. So you got another light set, Villager's Prophet. So you got 4%. This seems like a healing.
Yeah, this is a healing
4%
set.
healing done.
You also
Minor
get
Aegis.
Yeah, Aegis is.
Max Magicka Recovery for Perfected. Casting an ultimate ability.
This is so stupid.
Yeah, it is.
This one's gonna this is the one I'm worried about. Go ahead.
So casting an ultimate ability for the 5-piece bonus while in combat grants 28% of the cost as ultimate to up to 11 group members within 12 meters.
So 30% roughly of your ultimate gets redirected out to your group.
Right.
Which is, and it can occur every 25 seconds.
Right.
That's I understand. You're like, oh, 25 seconds.
That's a lengthy.
Yeah,
that feels lengthy, but there are
feels lengthy.
skills that have that timer.
And
there's actually skills that have longer time.
Listen, Lotus for a long time was 20 seconds, and you felt it.
Yeah.
You felt it when it went on.
Yeah.
So,
25 is not so long.
It's not so long.
It's not.
I want to read this one. This is Corporal Riptide. This is gonna be probably one of the best. I think this is gonna go into PvP. I think this is gonna be a massive bonus for those who want to just slam. It is crit. You get crit chance. You get Minor Slayer. You get 1,500 offensive penetration for the Perfected, and then increase your weapon and spell damage by up to 740 based on your missing stamina.
This is Boss Eyes Mania for stam builds.
This is where
That's what this is.
we start getting in to slam builds. This is where we start getting into my territory.
Right.
You know,
you're going to see a lot more smack face is what's going to happen.
Just think about it though. If you had 3 jewelry pieces, Bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
Okay? That's an extra what? 250. I'm just going to say 250. I can't think of the top of my head. So that's 250, 250, 250. That's another 750 plus this. You're ended up with a 1,400 or 1,500 roughly extra damage whenever you are they're below 50% health, and then you take your two-hander and you go reverse slice.
Yeah,
that thing's dead now.
When this is Boss Eyes Mania for stamina builds. It's been needed, in my opinion, because
sick.
it's not had.
Yes.
Stamina builds have not had an equivalent of that set, and it is a good set. Yes, I'm aware that it got a little bit of a nerf. But
it needed
balance is important. Imagine an MMO. Me and you had this conversation.
Yes.
Imagine a perfectly balanced MMO.
Imagine.
It's not gonna be perfect, but we're getting there here.
A perfectly balanced MMO doesn't exist. It can't exist because balance to me isn't balance to you. We play different classes.
Right.
So,
but in principle, the way the game plays, the ability to mix and match, and yes, you're gonna get punished for doing certain things. That's gonna happen.
The new heavy set here, Pearlescent.
I am I love this.
So we're gonna end up getting an extra 1,200 at max health. You gain Major Aegis at all times. Then a 4% healing taken buff. A 1,200 extra max magicka, or not max magicka, max health for the perfected version, and then grants you and up to 11 group members Pearlescent Ward. Pearlescent Ward increases your weapon and spell damage by 180 based on the number of group members that are alive. Now, the flip side of that is
this is where it gets nuts.
Pearlescent Ward increases damage reduction from non-player enemies out of 66%. Based on the group members that are dead. Now, you said to me, what if I was on Dragon Knight?
If I put that on the Dragon Knight, I'm unkillable.
Well, yeah, because alright, so you take a hit, okay? We're gonna do a little bit of backstreet math, okay? And this might be all wrong. But say you took a hit that's roughly before your armor, it's 100k. Okay? Now, you reduce that damage down to 3% of your max health.
That's in what is it? corrosive armor or
yes,
the ultimate.
right. So then, then you got a damage that hit you. Okay, so you could theoretically go forever for this, but let's do the backstreet math. You have 40k health.
Right.
Okay, 50k hits you. Now apply your armor to that.
Right.
What would that be? Maybe it takes maybe 30k, 20k.
So
we're not even gonna add corrosive to this because it's too stupid.
Yeah.
So let's say you take 20k, 25k after armor with whatever, and then we add on this.
Yeah.
66% base damage reduction.
Yeah.
Okay. Like backstreet math again. You just took maybe what? 10? No, not even.
No, it's not.
You took like 6k. You took like 6k damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that? Like you take damage and you reduce it to 0. That's the answer.
That's
And-
basically it.
And it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be disgusting. And I think that the worst thing is that
Tanks are gonna start running this.
it
If
not
they
only
don't,
does
I think
this
it's
to
kind of
you
crazy.
though, it gives it to everyone.
Yeah.
And it does it automatically.
Yes.
There's nothing you have to activate.
No.
This is 180 base damage for each person, and then that is a percentage-based reduction of damage depending on everyone dead. So
Yeah.
if you are a Dragon Knight and you are the last guy standing, you're not dying.
Now you're getting ready to walk around and res everybody.
Yes, you can just stand there and res them because you're not going to take enough damage to kill you.
All right.
Mythics. This is where it gets fun.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna leave this one below the fold here. So,
Don't do
Dobra
this.
Sabaton. While sprinting, you gain a stack of draconic scales every half second.
If you put this on, I'm going to be done with you.
It's, you know what, like,
All right, go ahead and read it over again.
All right.
I interrupted you.
so while sprinting, you gain a stack of draconic scales every half second, gaining you 660 armor, up to 20 stacks. So 20 times 660
Yeah.
is like 12,000 armor.
Yeah.
So upon stopping, you deal physical damage per stack in an 8-meter shockwave, gaining a damage shield. Gain a damage shield equal to the damage dealt, and retain draconic scales for 10 seconds, but cannot gain new stacks. At 20 stacks, this damage will also stun for 3 seconds, and the damage scales off the higher of your physical or spell resistance.
So let's go ahead. This is a set.
That is a PvP piece.
This is a set that adds 12,000 extra armor,
Yes.
and then scales off your armor,
Mm-hmm.
dealing damage in an 8-meter radius, and also stunning.
Yeah. Like look, I've got to like
What
it's
we're
not
gonna
been-
see, we're gonna see a lot of Dragon Knights running into
It's-
walls.
That's exactly what I'm going
Yeah.
down. Like it's not been on the channel, but I have a PvP build for the Dragon Knight. He's very effective already.
I know.
Like
I hate it
like-
because you can't backstab it. You can't do it because if you do, you
can't,
get lashed
and,
at.
like I dueled several Templars. Like when I was running around Cyrodiil, and a Templar would like, what is the I don't use
Appear.
the skill.
He would appear in
What's-
general
what's
because it's a
the-
Templar.
What's the gap closer that they have?
Javelin.
No, not
that's
the javelin.
What's it called? It's the charge. I don't remember. It's charge.
Yeah, it's their charge. Anyway,
toppling charge.
Toppling charge. There you
Yes.
go. So like, I loved it when I was running around in Cyrodiil,
I hated it.
and I would see one of them toppling charge into me, or I'd get hit with the javelin because I would stand back up, pop the armor, and
Yeah.
here we go, and they
you
could
watch
not
them
kill
deflate.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, you watch the Templar's ego go real low when they fight a Dragon Knight.
yeah.
It's
Like,
okay though, because Dragon Knights still get beat out by Necros.
like, there's a balance in between classes, and
Rock, paper,
Templars
scissors.
are like
Yeah.
OP a little bit, which
a little bit. Like-
not so much anymore after this. But
What
like,
he's saying
we'll get
is,
there.
don't tell Zoss on me.
It's all right. Like,
All right,
I just think this is gonna make PvP real interesting.
and I think this is gonna make PvP real stupid.
Yeah.
Left-handed War Girdle.
Yeah.
Roll dodge no longer evades an attack, instead grants you a damage shield absorbing up to 20k damage for 1 second. This damage shield is unaffected by battle spread.
That is gonna get nerfed. That last statement is gonna get nerfed
Yeah.
because Battle Spirit cuts your shields in half,
It has
if
to
not
be.
more
It
than
has to get no, because there's no way. It's not okay. You can't do this because we're gonna have people that are literally just roll dodging in arenas.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be in a battleground and some dude's just gonna be. He's not
Yeah,
gonna
'cause
take
that's,
any
that's
damage.
the other thing where you like there's no CPs in battlegrounds.
No.
Like you're gonna have this dude just rolling around and like
He's gonna have
all right,
20K.
so imagine this. They have this thing on and Essence Thief
Yeah.
where you gotta roll around anyway.
And here's the worst thing. Imagine if like they were stupid crazy enough to be like, I'm gonna wear something like Parabellum.
Mm-hmm.
So that they have an 8,000 damage shield on top of that damage shield every time they roll. You can't get through that. We're gonna end up where, because I went back and I read some forums from Merkmeyer, all right, and whenever they had damage shields could crit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get back to that.
Crazy.
We're gonna get back to that.
That's crazy.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
That's exactly what this thing allows.
Yes.
So you got
Mora's Whisper. This will grant us up to 1,500 crit chance and 10% increased inspiration, alliance rank, alliance skill, monster kill experience, based off how many books in Shalador's library have been collected.
Yeah.
This is a set for people who have crafting characters, who have characters that are not necessarily going to be pushing content. These are your characters that are going to make stuff. These are your characters that may be PvPing. But this is really where you'll throw this on whenever you go to do like haul runs.
Yeah.
You know, or crypts. I mean, when you go to do crypt runs, when you go do those, you'll put this on 10% extra XP, and you'll go collect all the books first.
Right. I was gonna say I do like that they added. There's a condition for getting the full benefit of this piece.
Yes, and it should be, I think, because this is a massive bonus to crafters, and this is also a great bonus for people who want to push Emperor.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to push Emperor on this is what you're going to be wearing, and then you're going to eat the food.
Yeah.
And then you go in. You don't leave with those on. You keep those on the whole time. You stay in Cyrodiil for your whole life. You're going to be Emperor. That's where the sweaty neckbeards stay.
All right. So.
All right. I'm gonna let you do this.
It's real sweaty.
I'm gonna let you read this one, but I'm gonna be mad about it after you're done.
It's all right. It's all right. Look, this one is just.
You know what it reminds me of?
Mess.
It's worse than. I mean this. I think this is worse than. Sithis' gaze.
Yeah.
This is a Sithis' gaze taken to the height of its potential.
It is. All right. Look.
For a DPS specifically.
All of this one piece bonus.
Yeah.
450 weapon and spell damage. 5280 armor.
This is getting nerfed.
450 health recovery, magic recovery, stamina recovery. 3700 health, magicka, and stamina. 1900 crit chance.
Yep.
The thing that nerfs all that is that you can't swap bars.
But that's gonna be alright.
That it will be alright because somebody's gonna figure out how to legitimately make a good 1 bar.
This is how this is now a 1 bar. This is a 1 bar requirement.
You know what this is? This is a Templar piece.
This is a Nightblade piece to me. Backstab with this.
Oh yeah.
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 And I think that's what I'm thinking is that you'd run backstab and poisons and you just walk away.
Look, like put that on a Templar.
Yeah.
And just sweet.
No, and here's the
That's all
thing,
you
like
gotta do.
You put this on, right? And then and then you wear the set
That's
that
not even
increases your status
That's a
effects.
1-button build, man.
Yeah, you increase your status effects with the other set that you got.
Yeah.
And then you might want to go back and also, if you can, you can't quite fit that one in. Well, you know what? You could, you don't need to worry about fitting it in. You can run Druid's Braid now.
Yeah.
So there you go. You put this on. You put Druid's Braid
you
on.
put 11 pieces of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Like there are skills that scale off resources.
Oh my! Wait, you'll end up with 10k of everything.
Yeah.
10k buff to all of your major stats.
Oh yeah.
You'll end up with a 5. You'll definitely go over 1,000 recovery on everything. Even if you're not pushing, your armor rating will end up like 15,000, 20,000. For me, it would be 20,000 or so. You'll have a weapon and spell damage of ridiculous proportions, a crit chance that is sickening for a 1 piece. But the only thing is, you gotta stand and fight with 1 bar, which means that you can't use a lot of tricks. But for PvP, damage is damage.
Look, gap closer, spammable.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, you could do it, and then you throw Necrotic Orb on.
I'm gonna play around with this.
I think you
That's
throw in
gonna
a product Orbon because it does execute damage at any HP.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Then let's see here. Sea Serpent's Coil.
I want to read this one. This one I think is awesome.
Go ahead.
While at full health, you gain 40% damage reduction. After taking damage while at full health, you gain Serpent's Rebuke for 10 seconds, snaring yourself and gaining Major Berserk and Courage. This increases your damage done by 10%, your weapon and spell damage by 430, and the damage reduction does not apply while Serpent's Rebuke is active.
You know, which is fine, because like 10 seconds is not that long.
40% snare is nothing to me. I hate to say it. I hate to be that guy.
Yeah,
right?
if you got a fast character, a 40% snare is not.
Yeah, and especially with like Falcon Swiftness or Pathway, which we're going to see some about that here in a minute, you're going to end up in a situation where 40% is not enough to make this bad, and the first hit is always 40% reduced.
Yeah.
That's going to slow down like damage that comes in from PvP. It's going to slow down damage that comes from bosses. If you're a DPSer and you might have, maybe you're a DPSer who's not built into defense, but your tank dies, and you have this on, that first hit ain't going to kill you now. Right. So it has its uses, and you might be slowed and not able to run away, but you pathway the fuck out of there, and this has utility. This is a utility-focused damage piece.
It absolutely does. Let's see. New antiquities, collectibles, and outfits. All right. So I think this is the point where we switch to the next tab over.
Yeah, I think we can go on ahead and move over to which one are you on?
So update 34 base game.
Base game. Yep.
This
Mundus Stones
should have been present the entire time. It's okay that it wasn't, but I'm glad
it was
makes
said.
Me so happy that it is now there.
I'm never gonna be happy with anything, right? So the thing is, that what I'm gonna say is, they did technically say that this would be in when it came out.
All right, well, like maybe there was complications.
Complications.
It's whatever it is.
Look, I'm just mad about the armory system stripping me from vampirism.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah,
you be careful, because if you mess up and accidentally you hit the wrong button, now it's gone.
Look, this did come out of the house that also was, in some way at work with Todd Howard. Yeah, so we try to not let him in the office.
Look.
But it happens sometimes, and when he comes in, we all got a mad scramble and hope that he doesn't touch anything. The code's real sensitive.
So I'm happy about the Mundus Stones. They're gonna be, you're gonna be able to see it in the preview to the build, and it's gonna support the Twiceborn Star item set, which is great. It just keeps you from having to go and change, because my main has a tank and a DPS and like a straight up crafting, harvesting.
It can be a whole lot. It can end up becoming a bit of a hassle whenever you have to travel around, and if you don't. I mean, I got kicked out of all my guilds recently. Yeah. And so and I'm back in a bunch of new guilds. All right, but I got kicked out of all my old guilds, and because of that, because I was offline for a little while, and that's gonna be a real good thing for me, because the Mundus Stones are really far apart for people who don't have guild halls.
They are. Yeah, it's even inconvenient just going to the guild hall. It really is.
Yeah, my loading screens are like 4 minutes. I gotta wait.
It's it is what it is.
Also,
I'm really happy about this though.
I'm really excited for this. I don't have an AMD, but you do. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution. I think this is going to be great for you. This is going to be able for you to upscale, and this is a new technology that recently came out, I believe. But the point of it is essentially that they take the image of the game at a downscaled resolution, and then they upscale it to your screen. So you're only visually seeing like 480p, but you're getting 1080p experience. This is something that GeForce has had something similar for a while. Yeah. And a lot of games have had a dynamic resolution scaler. Yeah. ESO doesn't have a direct one of those. It's a little bit different. This, however, this is good. This is good for people who are definitely running on lower end cards, as well as people who are as you are, running an APU.
Right. So let's see here.
Quick slot's got
Yeah.
updated, so we're going to be able to add allies and stuff like that, mementos, emotes. We can now assign any emote to an existing quick slot wheel, which is great. An existing emote wheel, when utilizing gamepad, can now be used through the quick select wheel keybind.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that'll be interesting. It's not a huge thing, but it will be interesting.
I use ESO Theater for all my emotes.
Yeah.
But this is actually going to be helpful. I mean, for some of the weird ones like that we collect throughout the boxes, it's difficult to find them. I don't remember the names of them. If I could just quick slot them and pull my jar out, that'd be great.
Yeah.
You got a role play.
Let's see. We're gonna be able to choose the title screen music. It's a nice little feature that they added.
New accessibility mode. This is great.
This is gonna be good for people who play
with
PC with a gamepad.
Yes. So now you can actually just swap it on, or it will actually be automatically swapped on in between, and you don't have to worry about all that stuff. You can also disable it in the option menus if you prefer to keep it as it was, which is great because, World of Warcraft recently announced that they're changing the whole UI of the game.
Yeah.
And my first question was, well, what about the old one? I like the old one. And so it's nice to see that ESO continues to support old features.
Let's see here.
I think we're good to go ahead and move on to combat and abilities.
Yeah, because template information, I think, is
mostly bug fixes.
PTS.
Yeah, we're seeing there's a couple bug fixes down there. Nothing too important, really.
All right, so combat and gameplay. This is going to be interesting. Some of this is interesting, and this is where a lot of the balance is coming in.
Right. So the following abilities now properly target justice neutral NPCs.
Which means you're getting a bounty.
Yeah. Deep Slash, Meteor, Reverse Slice, Soul Splitting Trap, and Stampede. They fixed an issue where many player source damage over time effects could miss an invisible target rather than hitting them without removing invisibility. Fixed an issue where abilities that bounce multiple targets caused health desyncs, which I've had, and I didn't know that's what it was from.
Actually.
I didn't know that was what it was from. I'm happy to see that's changed. All return damage from player source attacks such as spiked armor cutting defense can now be blocked and dodged to add counterplay to these, as well as fixed issues with numerous abilities that were not obeying line of sight. Now, go ahead and click that spoiler tag for me, because it's on your screen. And I just want to... Alright, the first thing, what did I say? We were on the phone, and I said...
Circles are circles, the wall is for roleplay.
Yes, circles are circles, the walls are for roleplay. Because Arctic Wind, Blazing Shield, Bone Totem, Caltrips, Crescent Sweep, Elemental Storm, Expert Hunter, Frozen Gate, Crave Robber, Impaling Shards, Lacerate, Mage Light, Negate Magic, Permafrost, Power Extractions, Restraining Prison, Revealing Flares, Solar Barrage, Mere Damage, Time Stop, Unstable and Volatile Familiar, and Volatile Armor are now going to obey the laws of physics.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
The walls are no longer role-playing. That's
right. Now it's strategy.
This is no longer an Elder Scrolls themed game. This is a game with walls. We're good.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. We did it.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a large list, man.
I'm gonna let you go ahead and read the Dragon Knight, because I don't want to read it.
That's fine. Before we move on, I want to point out that this right here fixes the invisibility thing. Dots hitting. That may be my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, you know what?
It's probably my favorite thing in this entire chapter.
Click all the spoiler tags as well. I understand that people are really spoilers. Not really spoilers. What it is it's dev maps.
Yeah.
Dev notes, and dev notes are these guys are great at dev notes.
Yeah,
I can't help but laugh at them.
The mail thing at the end is funny.
Yes.
All right, so now we're getting into class changes.
Right. All right. Start with the worst one.
So, Drag Knights in the Ardent Flame, Fiery Breath, Engulfing Flames morph. The flame damage bonus that you get from this skill has been reduced to a max of 6% down from 10%, but the sum total of weapon and spell damage, it should say, or probably, needed to reach the cap remains the same. Okay, so you lost 4%. That's fine.
Yeah.
Draconic power. Choking talents morph of dark talents. They reduce the cost by a considerable amount.
Yeah.
To 3510 down from 4050.
That's 500 less. That's really good for talents.
That is a big thing for talents. Spiked armor. This is it's a little bit over the top. The hardened armor morph. They've increased the damage shield granted from this morph by 24%.
Not okay. Exhaust, change it. Go back.
This, I think, will get changed at some point.
I'll take the extra 4% flame damage if you don't get this.
Let's see here. Earth and Heart, Obsidian Shield, Fragmented Shields morph. Increase the duration of major mending to a weird number, up from 5 seconds. Don't worry, though. This is why devs are good. Don't worry, though. It'll be a nice whole number when you have your Eternal Mountain passive maxed out.
Which is great. I love that you guys got an extra 6.667 seconds.
Right. Well, actually, we got an extra 1.667 seconds.
Yes.
But
don't worry, it's going to be a whole number one day.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to read the Necromancer here. In the Gravelord tree, we're going to get Shocking Siphon is going to be changed. The Mystic Siphon morph. This morph now increases your max health, magicka, and stamina recovery to 150 while it is active, rather than restoring 1200 magicka over its duration. This is great for anyone who plays Necro. We understand that recovery stats can be a bit finicky on this class, so that's going to be great. More recovery is definitely a buff, I would say, even though we're losing out on magicka. Magicka's easier to get anywhere else. Throw in a light attack.
Potion.
Beckoning Armor is now going to pull every 2 seconds instead of every 3 seconds whenever shot with a projectile. Now, here's where things get hairy. And here's where people are going to start really getting mad. Because when Necros came out, they busted the game up. And they stay busting the game up today. But now, Ruinous Scythe, we're going to see this a lot with a couple abilities that I'm going to be happy about. Now deals bleed damage rather than physical.
That's very uniquely specific in a very beneficial way.
And now it also applies hemorrhaging status effect instantly, and this morph sets off balance instantly as well. So we're going to have an ability that is an AoE cone that's going to do off balance, hemo, and bleed damage.
Yeah.
That is, like, Deadly Strikes is going to become S tier with this. Living Death, Expunge, Hexproof as the morph. It's going to reduce the cost of this morph down about 1,000 extra mana. The morph tooltip now properly states it reduces in cost as the ability ranks up. It's funny because I didn't know that it did that.
Because it didn't say it.
Yeah, Mortal Coil. This morph now increases your health, magicka, and stamina recovery up to 150 while active, rather than restoring 1200 stamina over its duration, which is, again, better. Recovery stats are really, really good, and they're better than just raw numbers coming in.
They are. It is very difficult, I have noticed.
Yes.
From playing the game, it seems to be very difficult for somebody to work in to their rotation a heavy attack. It's not impossible. It just seems that players don't do it, right? And heavy attacks are a way of getting back.
And it's because it slows your DPS down for a second, but it actually boosts it later. It's the return on the end.
It's like an immediate drop, sort of sometimes.
Yeah, and you can see the drop if you don't have your bleed. If you're not a bleed build.
Right.
If you're not a bleed build, you'll notice the drop. But if you are, you'll be fine. Nightblades here, however, they're gonna be having a day, and I'm gonna be having a day with them. I'll get into it here in just a second, but let's start with Mark Target. It is now a 60-second for piercing mark, up from 30 seconds. And they fixed an issue where the heal of this morph was lower than the base ability, which has happened to me before.
Sounds
where
crazy.
yeah, you just don't get really healed from it. Now, Ambush is also going to increase the duration of Empower granted from 3 seconds to 10.
That's amazing. Actually.
7 extra seconds, and on top of that, they gain Minor Berserk as well. So 10 seconds from an ambush, you'll gain 5% extra damage and Empower for 10 seconds.
That's a big damage bonus.
Here's where I'm mad as a warden, because I feel like Endurance and Intellect should be my thing to pass out, but Refreshing Path will now do this as well. Don't worry too much about it, Warden guys. This is going to be for the healers, mostly of the Nightblades. I don't expect many DPS to be picking this up because the heal over time isn't too great, but just so you know, Minor Endurance and Intellect for 4 seconds each tick is now part of the Nightblade's rotation. Thanks. Yeah, take away all our cool shit. Veiled Strike, surprise attack. Fixed an enemy, or fixed an issue where this morph had no upgrades as it ranked up, and now will deal 1.1% more damage per rank. That's your backstab, boys. Your backstab, it's happening. You're going to get 5.5% more damage. Aren't you happy? Alright, then we get Drain Power. Increase the duration of Major Brutality and Sorcery granted from this ability and its morphs up to 30 seconds from 20 to make up for the fact that they require a target to gain these effects. I think it should be 60. Power Extraction morph also grants the caster Major Courage for 30 seconds upon dealing damage. And Soul Shred. Fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs could ignore line of sight in some cases. Really? So walls are walls now. Fixed numerous issues where the damage or healing from these abilities could use the wrong stats to scale.
That sounds like a real big issue.
It's like Nightblades have been doing well. We've been doing good. Nightblades haven't had a problem. But we will say this. There are a few things that if I wanted to be, slight adaptations, this is the list. This is the things that I wanted, added to it. I didn't really think about Endurance or Intellect for them, and Ambush is a great now. But Piercing Mark, Veiled Strike, and Path of Darkness getting buffs, as well as Drain Power and Soul Shred getting fixed. This is like exactly what Nightblades would want, at least PvP Nightblades, and for me.
Alright, let's on to my class. Here we go.
I hate this one.
Sorcerers. Dark Magic. Crystal Frag.
Yep, Crystal Frags.
This is actually an attempted balance, is what this is.
I think so.
It's gonna upset people probably, but it is an attempt at balance. Crystal Frag, the morph now activates off any non-ultimate active ability cast, rather than only Magicka costing abilities.
That's great.
So now, so a stamina sorcerer can run Crystal Frag.
It's about time. Honestly, if you ask me, because Zap was a mixed build.
As far as stamina sorcs go, there's not a reason to run hardly any of the dark magic skills. Right.
Especially for stamina, because a lot of them don't morph over.
They don't, and it's not necessarily that it doesn't morph over. It's not feasible, or hasn't historically been feasible to manage your resources correctly. Especially
if you were a mixed build for Sorc, which is now is a new thing. So they're making sure that since they are adapting the game for you to be able to play multiple things around, being able to add different kind of roles to your class.
Right.
This right here, it kind of just makes sense.
It does. Crystal Weapon Morph.
It's gonna be. Hey, you forgot. There is a 2% reduced proc chance.
Yeah, we went from slightly over 1/3 to right at 1/3.
Yeah, which
chance to proc.
Yeah,
the free one.
You lost 2%
I say
chance.
Free one. It might as well be free.
It's horrifying. I don't know how you're gonna make it.
I don't either. So Crystal Weapon Morph now causes your next 2 light or heavy attacks to deal bonus damage up from your next 1. There's a small cooldown on this to avoid the ability to instantly proc both. I mean,
it sounds like a GCD. It sounds like it's like a GCD for it.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, adding two attacks to it, that kind of just makes sense as well. Why would, like, buffing and then hitting once, it kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does. It's the imbued weapon thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
you hit the ability, you hit the light attack, you hit it's your spammable.
And
I get that.
yeah, and it's good damage, but it's not as fun. And I think this is going to be a lot more fun.
It simplifies rotation for sure.
Yeah.
In the Daedric summoning line, Summon Storm Atronach, the charged Atronach morph, has an AoE damage effect that will now always apply the concuss status effect.
That's fine with me. Wardens can play. Wardens and Dragon Knights can apply their statuses on their abilities and their ultimates.
Yes.
I think it's only fair that so does the Storm Atronach.
So in the Storm Calling line, Lightning Form didn't really get like a change to it. It got an issue fixed where the abilities, visual effects were not in sync with combat effects. Maybe you noticed it, maybe you didn't.
I didn't, but you did.
So, well, see, I run Hurricane. So,
Boundless,
because Hurricane is the entire, like the buffs you get from it is the entire length of the ability.
Yeah.
So, like the Expedition and all that stuff. So, then you have Mage's Wrath, Endless Fury morph, reduce the cost of this morph to 2160 down from 2430 to help reinforce the idea that you are able to endlessly cast it.
I love the humor at the end.
It will, like, here's the thing, like you really kind of, as long as you're killing stuff, you are now, because whenever you kill something with this particular morph, you get Magicka back.
And you'll get the full mana back as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. This actually does mirror what you get back, I believe, now.
I think
before it was 300 above. So now you actually can endlessly, technically cast this.
Yes. So, Overload, the Energy Overload morph, which I used it like early on playing around with it, so I don't really use it anymore. But Energy Overload, the morph now restores up to 1200 Magicka and stamina rather than up to 1192 Magicka, and now doesn't require you to deal damage. It's any light or heavy attack, so you can just fire one off in any direction and get the recovery.
See, now I think that's going to be great for just any class. I mean, you could run that and just take all your ultimate and shuffle it back in to your resources. You don't even have to be doing damage with this. I mean, you should probably try to aim it, but it doesn't matter. You just fire aimlessly, and then whenever it ends, you're ready to go back.
Yeah, this will ensure, like, especially if you pop this thing with like 500 ultimate.
Yes.
If you build up 500 ultimate,
you'd probably get 2 or 3 bars out of it.
You could get a really just unaffected rotation. Like, you would still probably have like nearly full resources at the end of your rotation.
You could probably, and you can keep it on
until
and
this
continue
runs
to
out.
do damage. That's the thing. So you can just,
until this runs out.
Yeah.
Your resource bars are likely not to drop very much at all.
This is a great overall, just a buff to it.
So Surge, they fixed an issue where the major sorcery gained from this ability was not ranking up in duration.
That needed to happen.
Yeah. If it wasn't in sync, it's now in sync. And I am going to read this next one because, like, look, I play a Templar. I actually have 2 Templars, but like Templars are kind of stupid.
I'm letting you do it because the next one's Warden, and I'm real happy about Warden.
All right. So, Adric Spearline Sun Shield, the Blazing Shield morph. Increase the radius of this morph to 8 meters, up from 6, to better match its visual effects. Fixed an issue where the damage could fail to activate in many cases. Okay, that's cool. Like, if it's a skill failure, it needed to be fixed.
There's a whole lot of abilities that aren't functioning right.
And 8 meters is kind of, we're finding out in this chapter that there's quite a few abilities that just weren't functioning correctly.
We still have a while before this comes live.
Yeah.
So now we're aware of the problem.
Yeah, now we know, and we know what not to do.
Yeah.
So
8 meters from 6, that's nothing big.
Well, it's not, and it's more like 8 meters is kind of the standard. Like, Grothar's 8 meters. Most things that are like right around you are 8 meters.
Yeah, and that's a lot different from WoW, where WoW is 5 meters to 10. This is typically, they do like 8 to 16 or 8 to 20, you know, they try to keep it like, they try to keep the range in a weird kind of numbers. I kind of like that a bit better though.
So, Dawn's Wrath, Backlash, increase the cost of Backlash.
No.
And the Purifying Light morph to 2160 up from 2000 flat, which is not, that is not gonna put a damper really on it.
This hasn't changed. Like, are you telling? These are all the same numbers.
It's that basically is.
Like, they didn't
Power
really do
Light
anything. Yeah.
Reduced the cost of they reduced the cost of the Power of Light morph from 1700 down to 1337. Which
yeah, but then
you don't have like you don't have your healing effect and all that stuff. You don't have that. You do have breach though, because Power of Light breaches.
But see, so why is the breach spell lead? Firstly,
like it's look.
This was an act of aggression towards wardens.
Well, and here's the thing. This next thing is really just gonna hurt some people's feelings.
Yeah.
So in the
yours
Dawn's
specifically?
Wrath, nope, not mine, because I am not a bubble plar.
Okay, you better click that spoiler too.
I'm going. So Dawn's Wrath, the Eclipse, Living Dark morph. These are the Templars you see running around, living in a bubble. This morph's heal no longer scales with stats, and instead heals for a base of 2,000 health when it triggers. Now, I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Templars are a little bit disgusting. I understand that.
No, not a little bit.
They're a lot disgusting.
Yeah.
Especially if you know what to do with them.
Yes.
It's even worse.
Living Dark is also a really, really great passive. Like you put it on, and then it just everything around you no longer hurts
anything
you.
that hits you heals you, right? Like the direct damage heals you.
And they needed a little bit of a cut.
The problem in that was what's getting ready to be shown in this note.
We're taking away some of the insane values of healing that this ability can have when stacking high stats, and instead taking a safer route with a flat value to ensure any role of a Templar can still engage with this skill, but less powerful results at the high end.
Right, because here's the thing. The healing scaled from a stat pool. And not from something else, a stat pool.
And I've seen the heal do a whole lot of heals.
It's
not okay.
Bubble plars were a thing for a reason, and I'm not going to say that they won't still be, but they're not going to be as unkillable.
Listen,
you're going to be able to outdamage
they have to cap this off at some point.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to buff it from 2,000. I think it's going to go up to 3,500.
I can see 3,000 because
3,000 seems right to me.
So Surge with sorcerers, when you crit while you have that ability active, you get 3,000 health.
Can we just admit that they're not going to do a flat number?
They're likely not.
Because they don't do flat numbers.
No. 2,000 is real weird. 3,000 is real weird.
Like, we got 2430 over here right next to, we're going down to Dark Flare.
So, yeah.
Like, they don't do good numbers.
So, Solar Flare, the Dark Flare morph, reduced the cost of this morph to 2430 down from an even number. Or a flat number, I'll say that.
Right,
it is an even number, but
like
restoring light. This actually needed to happen, and I don't care how much I hate myself for saying that.
Yeah.
Rite of Passage, practice incantation morph. This morph now allows you to move at a reduced rate while channeling it, rather than being unable to move at all.
Don't forget, Dark Flare has a reduced cost down from 2,400 or down to 2,400 from 2,700 as well.
Yeah.
I feel like I wanted to read that because I made a joke to it, but you kind of skipped over it with Rite of Passage. Rite of Passage being able to move
that's important. It's kind of important.
My Templar is a healer, so this is the one part of this whole thing that I really give a fuck about.
Yeah.
Okay? And that is that now, whenever there's a thing on the ground, I don't have to stand in it whenever all of y'all are being stupid.
Yeah.
Like, look, all three of you are getting hit by shit, and I need to heal you, but you're all the way over there. Just move here.
Granted, yes, you do have a passive in this tree that makes you really stupid tanky while you're channeling.
Like, I barely ever get the full channel off this, but just in dungeons specifically, because dungeons are so much movement that if you're gonna stand still during ad packs, boss fights, doesn't matter. You're just gonna get left behind.
Yeah. So here's your class.
All right. Here's where people are gonna start getting mad at me, because I'm a warden, okay, and I am a bleed stamina warden.
Yeah.
Which means that, one, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
and two, you can't beat me. Now, come duel me somewhere. Wild Guardian is now what?
On the Dragon
Don't
Knight?
you bring a Dragonite? It's very clear in the Discord channel that you are not allowed to duel me with Dragonites if you enter the Discord channel and you're in it. Wild Guardian. This morph now deals 10% more damage, up from 5%. Ensure it deals similar damage to the Eternal Guardian when you take the Piercing Magic passive. That is the 10% Magic and Frost bonus from the Frost Tree.
Right.
Because that also applies to your bear.
Right.
It applies to all magic damage, and which is what he does. So now there's a little bit of a buff there. This morph also converts... Okay, sorry. This morph, the physical one, converts the damage from physical to bleed. And each attack applies the hemorrhaging status effect. Wild.
Yeah. That's nice. That's real nice.
I am a bleed stamina warden. This is what I needed. Next thing on the list is Scorch, which is Deep Fissure, now applies Minor Breach to enemies hit for the duration. That is 2 beetles. I can actually run 2 beetles with Breach. This is everything I could have wanted. Healing Seed. Oh no. This morph now also applies Minor Cowardice to enemies in the area. This is great. Oh my, like this, it's all good. Everything's great. And then we get to Arctic Wind. Arctic Wind has been changed, boys. I'm sorry to say it.
Yeah.
Arctic Blast. The morph now requires enemies to be damaged 5 times to cause the stun, up from 3. Reduce the duration of the stun from 4 seconds to 3 seconds, and increases the duration of the stat counter from 3 seconds to 1 second.
All right.
People aren't gonna like what I'm about to say. All right. I'm gonna read the developer note, and then we're gonna talk about it for a second. Right now, this ability is offering too much offensive nature for the Warden, allowing them to line up their burst perfectly with Scorch to remove counterplay. But by increasing the stat counter required, there should be less guarantee with this combination and require more reactive play from the caster, while the increased duration of tracking helps also reduce the ease of counterplay by backing off for 1 second from the Warden to completely avoid the stun. This is, and I'm probably going to get some shit for this one.
Yeah.
This is the best thing they could have done. Alright? They fixed the ability. Now, instead of 3 stacks, we do 5. That's fine. Because now you can't run away from us. You can't run away and get away from the stun. And if we reapply or recast the spell, we can run at you and get onto you in 3 seconds before your thing goes off, and then you get stunned.
Yeah.
This is the perfect situation for PvP. This is the perfect setup that you could have. And I think if anyone's upset about the extra second being lost, you can't be. You can't be. It's 3 seconds. It's ridiculous. It's an AoE stun around you.
Yeah.
And just pop beetles. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Crystallized Slab morph now also stuns the target upon dealing damage. Developer note: for the Masters of Ice, Wardens are lacking a hard control without giving them something too over the top to make them even more oppressive to melee attackers. Sorry. We opted to add in a reactive stun option to help deter range builds that naturally kited and hound Wardens. He's right. Okay, I don't know which dev this was, but he's right. They don't have a way of shutting down as much as other tanks do.
Right.
This is a great way for Wardens to be different than other classes.
Right.
Instead of being a melee tank necessarily,
Right.
they can now also defend against range attack, which beforehand they just weren't really equipped for. Expansion of Frostcloak, however, expands the radius up to 36 meters, up from 28.
Which is massive.
That is, it's already too big at 28 range. Northern Star, this morph now grants 300 weapon and spell damage up to 30 seconds after casting, rather than up to 15% extra magicka for 30 seconds. This should help the ultimate be more impactful across all plate styles. I agree. I think
Completely.
that, yeah, this
I
is
agree completely.
your Dawnbreaker. There's now
Yeah.
a Dawnbreaker with chill.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you could ask for. 15% extra mana really wasn't all that good. I remember using it and you didn't even notice it really.
No.
It wasn't enough for you to really do anything with during the time. 300 weapon and spell damage. That's the best thing that came out of this. Sleet Storm, the reason you'd even use the 15% extra magicka is that, for me, I used it on my healer to
Right.
gain extra mana during aggressive fights.
Right.
But that's not what its purpose should be.
Right.
Its purpose is in the tanking tree.
Right.
And the tanks need the damage.
Right. So now we're into weapon and some other stuff.
Yep, Reverse Slice. This morph no longer deals damage based on the initial hit, and still does damage to all targets around. This basically, we now have a conal whirlwind for two-handed.
Yeah.
Instead of what it was before, which I preferred it the way before, but it really was busted.
Yeah.
You could hit a target that was low health, you had bloodthirsty and everything else, and if you hit this target, you'd end up killing an ad off
Yeah.
to the side that you didn't even notice.
Yeah, with splash damage.
Yeah, and so changing this down to be more like Whirlwind, it's equalizing it.
Yes.
It's making sure that it's in line with everything. Do you have a shield?
You know, the Dragon Knight has a shield. Let's see here. One-handed shield.
You got a shield and got
Stance.
good.
Yeah, that one guy said so. One-handed shield line, defensive stance, the defensive posture morph. They fixed an issue where the passive bonuses from this morph could fail to apply. So, broken skill.
Yeah, broken skill.
Power bash, power slam. This morph's passive resentment now reduces the cost of your next power slam by up to 50% rather than increasing its damage by 33%. Because that was that legitimately was broken.
I think the reduce in cost. I don't play a tank, but I imagine that's probably way more useful to you.
You could. It is like I run the Vadishran Void. What is it?
Void Bash.
Yeah, Void Bash set. I'm playing around with that on the Dragon Knight tank right now.
This is
There's a time in between the what is it, Call of the Void,
yeah.
where it pulls everything to you. So
Reducing its cost at least. I could see how that would be helpful.
yeah, tank with tanking, resource management is probably your biggest issue.
Yeah, so it seems they did want to balance that around for that. And seeing as, especially with Wardens being changed, if you're a Warden tank with a slam, with this ability, you already get the new damage buff, so you're good. Like, they're adding damage to classes, and they're taking away a few things of damage to make sure that everyone's a little bit more universal, and a little bit better at managing their resources, like with the Necro.
So in the heavy armor tree, the bonuses, they adjusted the bonus damage to bash attacks to grant 30 more damage per piece of heavy armor worn rather than 3% more damage. I don't know how that'll round out. Like if you have 7 pieces, it's 210 more damage. There's champion points that do affect bash damage.
I would say
like I don't know. I don't bash a lot. Like I interrupt.
Well, I guess 3% more
of
damage was
interrupting.
too much because it does scale up so high. Whereas 30 damage probably is closer in line to what was the original idea.
You're looking at 210 more damage or 21% more damage.
21% is
full
different. It's way different. Yeah. This will at least hopefully bring a few of them into line a bit more.
Yeah. So we're now into the world skill lines.
Vampire Blood Frenzy. This ability and its morphs now grant 5 stacks rather than 10, though they half the amount of stacks. However, the ability is essentially unchanged.
Right.
You'll gain, it increases by 360 health per tick of it, and your damage is the same. All around, everything is basically the exact same way as it was, but you only have half the amount of stacks. It's easier to manage that way, but it also, as they say in the developer note at the bottom here. Based on the initial feedback we saw from our last update, we've decided to ramp this ability up a little, make it a little bit quicker, make it more aggressive and ravenous. The change they're referencing is where they took the ability, they capped the stacks for one,
Right.
and then they also lowered everything overall, the health requirement and the damage.
Right.
By doing that, they kind of cut into it, but now what they've done is this will be a lot easier to put on and build up and then continue to use, and then once it becomes too much, you can drop it and not worry about having to redo all those stacks.
Right.
It's great to see it that way, as well as Feed Synergy now heals you to full health after a successful casting on a target and feasting upon their life essence. Delicious. Vampiric Drain fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs could be reflected despite being beams. Stop draining yourself.
Yeah.
Hersine's Bounty. Hersine's Fortitude. This morph now grants minor endurance and fortitude for 20 seconds after casting, rather than a unique amount of health and stamina recovery based on your healing cause for 6 seconds. Hersine's Rage. This morph now also reduces the ability cost, reduces the ability cost down from 5,000 to 3,700, and increases the duration of Major Berserk and damage taken to 10 seconds up from 6 seconds.
I just want to take a second and point out that this is not a reduction, so I'm hoping the numbers are backwards.
Yeah, that's what I can't really tell what they were saying. Here we go. The morph now also reduces the ability cost to, I think the numbers are backwards. Yeah. So it's 3,700 instead. Werewolf didn't really. I don't say this is much of a bonus. I have a werewolf. Werewolf hasn't changed in a while.
Yeah.
Vampire seems to be a little bit better.
Yeah. Let's see here. Guild, Fighters Guild, Silver Bolt. The Silver Shards morph fixed an issue where this morph could sometimes fail to be recognized as a stamina costing ability for certain proc conditions.
That must have been interesting to figure out.
Yeah, that's a broken skill. Mages Guild, Equilibrium, they fixed an issue where this ability and its morphs could not be cast if you had less than 6,000 health, even if the cost was less than 6,000 health. With
the way that my Templar's set up, he's set up to be using reduced spell cost.
Yeah.
If I never used Equilibrium on him, but that would have had the cost lowered down by, I mean, probably about another 2k.
Yeah.
So I would have been able to use it, and that would have been really frustrating. Fire Rune also has an issue fixed where the explosion from this ability and its morphs could not be seen by enemies. That's wonderful.
Yeah. This is interesting. This is one of the more interesting things to me. Changes to the champion system warfare. So they added back Exploiter. It's noted here it's a returning one. You increase your damage done against off-balance enemies by 2% per stage. There's 5 stages, so 10
points per stage. Yeah, so it's 50 points in total for 10%.
Yeah.
That's going to be great for Necros now. Yes. That can automatically apply that.
Or builds that are aimed at applying off balance, because off balance allows your heavy attacks to do more damage. You get a lot more resources back from the heavy attacks.
Overall, it's a massive bonus for people who are willing to put into it.
And then a new one is Force of Nature, increasing your offensive penetration by 900 for each status effect your target has. One stage, 50 points. So,
I'm going to be using that on the Warden, by the way. I've already determined that. It's the best thing I could be using for the Warden. I can't imagine using anything else. I apply 5 status effects on 1 bar. So that right there, that's my entire penetration fixed. That's any problem that I have with penetration fixed. And especially with snapshotting, this is even more powerful. As soon as you get up to a certain rank of it, you reapply all your debuffs, and guess what? You're back to where you should be.
Yeah, and
slow
they
start.
Actually address it right here. A form of accessible penetration outside of item sets for all those not those non-light armor builds.
Yeah, and that's because penetration is quite difficult to come by in medium armor.
Yeah.
You typically have to go around a bit for it.
It is, unless you're wearing like Spriggan Thorns and stuff like that.
And see, I probably actually won't need it on the Warden, but I'll definitely be using this on one of my characters. But this right here, like for a Nightblade, you get 3,000 penetration for stabbing in the back.
Right.
So you only really need 3,000 penetration in PvP, like at least I found for myself. So,
right.
But with this, you can end up continually getting stronger and stronger.
Right.
And since they're stunned, you can apply those status effects before you even start the combat.
Let's see here. They rebalance. So on from that, they rebalance some numbers and regression for a number of nodes. Specifically, following nodes now grant 3% to their listed bonuses per stage with 2 stages at 25 points per stage rather than 2% with 5 stages. So you're going to get 6% instead of 10% for Biting Aura, Deadly Aim, Duelist Rebuff, Enduring Resolve, Ironclad, Master at Arms, Thaumaturge, and Unassailable.
That's good. And Backstabber now grants 2% critical damage per stage, down from 3%.
Right. So that's a balance towards not overreaching towards the crit cap.
The problem with it is, however, that it ends up lining up the exact same way with the other crit one.
Yes. But you can stack those.
Yes. Well, hold on, actually. That's not true now, because I believe... Never mind, I'm thinking backwards a bit. But nonetheless, this here, for backstabbing users, that's an extra 20% instead of 25% if you take both passives. That's overall... It's 20%
not... 20% is still good.
Yeah, and with the recent changes, you're not really going to notice it too much.
Yeah. Cutting Defense, which is one of them that's like further down towards the bottom of the tree, now scales off your physical and spell resistance, or spell resistance rather than max health. I think that's a good thing for tanks that are like at armor cap or real close to armor cap.
Armor is a lot easier to gather up than health pool, especially for certain classes. Some classes just don't have high health pools.
Okay, so it looks like they also did Fighting Finesse. They nerfed it a little bit.
No, they didn't.
4% crit damage.
No, they buffed it by double. This node now grants 4% crit damage and healing per stage with 2 stages. But it's only got
2 stages, so 8% instead of 10.
You're right. I didn't read that part there. Well, you know what? That's not too bad. Like I said, I think they're just trying to cut down on crit damage because crits have been overall a massive thing people are using right now.
It is, and with a cap, like...
There's a cap, but it's easy to reach. It's ridiculously easy to reach.
It is.
And now we have sets that help us reach that.
Yes.
They've taken away some of our crit damage, but they actually added in a set that gives 8% extra crit damage without taking that buff slot.
If you're in like a trial group or even just a 4-man group, like there are plenty of crit damage buffs.
Yeah, these are small changes. I don't think that these are going to be enough to really offset all the good that's been here.
Right. Occult Overload now deals 2560 Oblivion damage per stage with 5 stages at 10 points per stage rather than 2000 Oblivion damage per stage.
This now makes this here
2
good.
Stages.
I wanted to run this. Yeah, I wanted to run this. That is 5 times 2500 instead of just 4000 damage. This is probably going to become a main line for me on at least one of my builds. AoE is massive. This is basically a Zura Blight for when you kill something.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Alright, so Riposte, I'm going to run through this one real quick because the next one is more interesting to me. Riposte now increases the damage done of your next direct damage attack by 33% rather than dealing flat 4,800 damage to your attacker.
That's great.
I think it is too, and it goes in line with we don't like flat numbers.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah, but we're going to say flat number.
Yeah. So Wrathful Strikes and Rejuvenator. These nodes now grant 41 weapon and spell damage to their effects, up from 33, which is I think a really good improvement. I know it's not like a large number.
Yeah, no, it's overall it's good. It's a genuine buff to the class.
And it adds credence to having these nodes.
Yes.
Right? Because they are slottable.
And they're great. They're great on their own already. The thing is, buffing them and since they are slottable, separating them from the other damage buffs that you can get and making them a little bit more potent, that pays off for slotting it now.
This is the thing this is what you were talking about, but I think you read it incorrectly.
I might have.
The companion interaction prompt will now only occur when the target reticle is placed directly over the companion, reducing the frequency of the prompt appearing unintentionally.
Fixed an issue where your companion could drop combat whenever necromancers use blast bone abilities.
Yeah.
Fixed an issue where Miri's shot ability, where she could occasionally get temporarily stuck in casting animation.
Yeah.
Fixed an issue where heal from Miri's life absorption ability could be dodged.
Yeah.
Man.
You skipped one though that's going to upset you. Companions will now respond more consistently to various types of criminal activity.
Companions now occasionally dynamically strafe in both melee and range combat though.
That's good.
Fixed an uncommon issue where Miri failed to acknowledge her distaste of certain reef vipers when slain.
Yes.
Companions will now respond more consistently to various types of criminal activity.
Yeah.
Companion interaction prompt will now only occur when the target reticle is placed over the So overall,
so you're not going to be standing next to a rock, looking at a rock, and trying to.
Your companions are now better, but they're going to talk more.
No, they're gonna talk less.
Well,
you're not gonna accidentally open the menu as much. They are gonna talk more.
Yeah, and they're gonna talk about vipers.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be good for
Miri
the new
don't
expansion.
like snakes.
Look,
she likes it when you kill them.
That's okay, because we're going to the coastline, so I think that's why they made sure that Miri was gonna say some shit.
Yeah.
I think that's mostly everything. Fixed an issue where potions granted invisibility would instantly break upon taking or dealing damage over time.
Yeah.
Let's
see here. Elemental cat. They've made some changes to
the monster helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go through that as well. I think that's pretty much everything that we need to go through. Marcelok here. This set now dynamically scales with the higher of your weapon or spell damage rather than only your weapon damage, which is great.
Yes.
The damage from this set now increases by 10% per negative effect, up from 2%, but has a cap of 300%.
Rather than no cap.
Yeah. Spawna Mafala fixed an issue where the set's visual effects could fail to appear. Trimmer scale increases
I like.
You want to read it? Go ahead.
So trimmer scale increased the duration of the set's effects to 15 seconds up from 8. Increase the cooldown to 10 seconds from 8. Increase the damage done by approximately 4%, which I think is appropriate since they're increasing the cooldown.
Trimmer scale's great though. It's
a good one,
and now it's
a
even
decent
better.
Tank set because it breaches and it stacks with every other form of breach.
And now you get to read about the breach.
The set now reduces the armor of the enemy by 8% of the higher of your physical or spell resistance rather than reducing it by flat.
Which is super good.
Yes, it is, because 8% of 33,000.
33. I'm doing it. Divided by 8. That's 4,000. So if you hit cap, you get double effect out of this.
So
it's directly an advantage for tanks.
I'm gonna read Zon's too, because
go on ahead.
They broke Zon's.
I get to read the developer comment.
That's fine. That's fine. Look, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Zon's, in my opinion, from using it, was broken as is.
You know what?
It's like an execute that runs all the time.
I want to read about the Harpooner's Whaling Kill instead.
Okay. Now, they have broken it a little bit more. So, the set applies a tether to the target that damages all enemies that touch it. rather than a beam that only damages the target.
Fucking, that's good.
They reduced the base damage by approximately 52%. That's fine.
It should be.
It now damages everything that it touches, though.
It's now in line slightly.
They increase the duration to 10 seconds from 6, which is decently significant.
But
that's now 10 ticks of damage increase versus 6.
You know, it's not too bad because you also...
They increase the cooldown by 2 seconds.
Yeah, it has
a guaranteed chance to apply burning to anything it damages.
Less balance now. We're getting a little less.
It now requires, this one is not so important if you really spec for crit.
Yeah.
It requires a critical light or heavy attack rather than just a light or heavy attack.
That's going to be annoying.
The proc chance remains the same.
I can't wait till that one day you just get real unlucky and you just, for no reason.
Proc it,
yeah, you got like a 60% crit chance.
Your
but
abilities
you just
are what's doing all the critical damage. Every time you light or heavy attack, you're not.
It's going to happen eventually, you know it.
So, after the adjustments in Update 32 to allow proc sets to critically strike when applicable, Zon has fallen off course considerably despite its intense requirements for low mobility stationary encounters in PvE. Now, I'm going to disagree here because I use the set and it's real good. Like, I don't know.
You've got a real love for it. You got a real love for it.
While remaining relatively powerful in PvP when paired with crowd control and roots. I would agree with that also. Rather than merely increasing the damage or enabling critical strikes, we've decided to take some upfront damage away and put it into only long-term encounters in cleave situations. Because that's what's happened here.
Yes.
You now get cleave damage, right? Because it's a tether, not a beam.
And now its use is different. It's actually able to spread out.
You get...
And you can guarantee burning status.
With the feel of the set, melting your enemies when they don't respect the flames. I love that statement.
Yeah.
In addition to this, we've added a little more variance and chaos to the set to make sure it feels less reliable and more like a window of opportunity that you must quickly adjust to.
That makes sense for it.
Well, like, it was sort of a window of opportunity anyway, because when you saw it proc, you're like, all right, I can't move away from this thing, because once you get so far away, the effect stops.
All right, so next we have Harpooner's Wailing Kilt. Walding, whatever. Reduces the duration of stacks gained from this set to 10 seconds, down from a minute. And also reduces the critical chance gained per stack to 110, down from 125. Not
such big change.
This right here, I feel like, is just bringing it in line with other sets that do similar stacking buffs.
Yes.
Tzavigan's is much like this, where 10 seconds is all you get, and once you hit 10 seconds, you get major force.
Right.
Now, it's perfectly fine, because by the time you get to the next encounter, typically, it's either going to be off or you're still fighting.
Right.
Now, depends on what group you're in, whatever, but this does at least mean that you can't kind of just full on, sprint it forever. You're gonna have to be manageable of this. Yeah. It's not a forever thing.
It's a balance of a mythic item that was overpowered.
Yes. Shadow Dancer's raiment also got changed. This set now causes you to dodge all incoming attacks within 1 second after leaving stealth and invisibility, with an 8-second cooldown, rather than causing you to ignore the movement penalty of sneak. This set no longer grants an extra 120 stam recovery on its 5-piece bonus as well. I used Shadow Dancers for a while. This change here, I would say it's good, because as soon as you exit stealth, that's when shit goes wrong. Yeah. And PvP source Hrothgar's Chill fixed an issue where the set would not proc off the stun of a heavy attacking an off-balance target.
Alright, so the last little bit here. Let's see here. There was a reason that I had this up, and I need to find it. Alright, gameplay.
Oh, hold on. I just want everyone to be aware. We're gonna get a couple new dyes. We're gonna get Chivalric Silver Pantheon Purple,
Uh-huh.
the Rossier's Carillion die, the Cardinal Ship Crimson die, as well as a Patron's Gold die, that's all I care about now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Aesthetics, yeah, I
Yeah.
know. So, in, let's see here, gameplay, they fixed an issue where certain item set procs could clear ability bar timers.
Yes.
They fixed an issue where ability bar timers could show up on the wrong bar when an ability was double slotted.
I haven't seen anything about this on anyone else's game, but for me,
Yeah.
I've had 3 of those timers stack on top of each other before, and 2 of them were the same bar. Okay, so those ability timers, I use the default ability timers in the game, even though I have a different UI, right?
Right.
And I use the default ones because they're clean and simple.
Right.
The problem is, they don't always work.
Right.
And
now
there,
you know.
There are times when you swap bars and the ones that were there a second ago just go,
Yeah.
and they just disappear into the air, misting out. Todd Howard's little sprinkles.
Yeah. So this one I like because I'm about basic mechanics in the game. Fixed an issue where the combat tip for interrupts only showed the keybinds to interrupt but didn't state what it would actually do. Now, if you understand that you're getting ready that something needs to be interrupted, you knew what the keybinds were.
Yeah.
But
For
I
the
am
people
happy.
Who have people who have tutorials on as well.
I am happy that it now says interrupt.
Yeah.
Because, like, at least you know what you're getting ready to do. You don't have to slot an interrupt. You just do it.
Do you think this is going to help with people interrupting?
No.
Okay. I mean, I think if you tell people what to do, they're going to say no even more.
I do think I'm going to read this mail thing last, but
yes.
The quest UI will now warn you if you are close enough to event ticket cap that completing a quest would result in lost event tickets. I think that's helpful because I don't really like track it. When there's an event going on,
yes.
That's it. That's when I track it. Outside of that, I'm not aware of how many event tickets I have.
No.
So this is why devs are awesome. The mail system. Several system mails have good, better grammar done, which is marked out. Have had textual,
grammatical
errors fixed. I think the first way they said it is the most appropriate way to say it.
Yeah.
Let's just go with that.
Have you ever?
But hey,
you have good, better grammar done.
Yeah.
And
so
I think the ZOS devs are killing it with this patch.
They are.
I think this is probably what we're going to be looking at. Almost like this is right now. We're in a period where World of Warcraft is going down, and other MMOs are starting to see huge resurgences.
Yes.
We've recently seen players come into ESO. Massive amounts. We've seen queue times in ESO again, whereas before recently we were not seeing them as often. And we've seen my friends that play Final Fantasy Online, they're saying that their games are stuck full of people. We're seeing even Star Wars, their MMO, the Old Republic even, and that's a single player kind of MMO game, and it's even seeing a resurgence. We are seeing right now an MMO time to be playing, a great time to be playing MMOs. And right now, if you're looking at which game to get into, if you're not into Elder Scrolls Online, firstly, I don't know why you listen to all these patch notes.
Right.
But secondly, this is the best time, and it's the easiest time to convince your friends to jump in.
Yeah.
If you're playing right now and your buddy played whenever the game came out originally and it was real bad, look at him and be like, look,
it was real janky.
Yeah, this is now where you can. It's not an Elder Scrolls game. You don't sell it as that. Sell it as this is a sandbox MMO that you can really do and make any character you want now.
Right.
Like it's become that.
Right.
Whereas before it was true in a sense.
Right.
But with the recent expansion and the recent patches and the continual updates, we are seeing more flexibility in all of our characters, sets to come in to help solidify that. We've seen set changes to allow more, utility as in weapon damage and spell damage. We've seen changes to the armor class. We've seen changes where we have dual spec now. We have a great time ahead for us in ESO from what I can see. And I think that if you are trying to get your buddies in,
Yeah.
this is the time to do it.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to the High Isle chapter. There's a lot of good stuff coming. We have been rambling on for approximately 2 hours at this point.
And that's believable, yeah.
So, but there's a lot of stuff coming. So we just decided to cover it all in one, and we're a little bit behind on covering it. So we wanted to get a update out on it and kind of our analysis and thoughts on it.
I'll tell you this, last closing thoughts, really. I'm looking forward mostly to getting Order's Wrath set, as well as trying out to use Serpent's Disdain for that extra status effect.
Yeah.
The status effect being 16 seconds longer, I can only imagine what that's going to do for Concussed.
Yeah.
Or for Brittle.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really excited to see. I think I'm going to pair that with Frostbite on the Frost Warden.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I think I'm going to do when this patch comes out.
I like it. There's enough stuff that I'm looking forward to that I really can't like pare it down to a list that's like appropriately a closing statement. But there's a good amount of stuff that I'm looking forward to that I am definitely going to get. Give a shot at.
Not Druid's Braid? You don't want an advanced training set?
Oh, buddy, look, I'm going to put that on, and then I'm going to put that one bar thing on, and we're going to see how that goes.
I think it's going to go really well.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a really fun expansion as well, because bread and stuff is always fun. Just in any of the Elder Scrolls games, you don't really see that much bread and stuff, but when you do, it's always, pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of high fantasy magic.
Yeah.
It's going to, I think, feel a lot more
That's
like...
because they're part Altmer.
Yeah. But it's going to feel a lot more like Cyrodiil in that way, I think. Because they are, half.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
The aliens, them alien boys.
Yeah.
They, nonetheless, we're going to see, I think, a lot of fun with that. I'm really excited to see, I'm hoping we see Alien Ruins.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what I want to see. I want to see some Wizard Spiral Towers. I want to see some...
We are for sure going to see the Malmer.
Yes.
That's happening.
That's what I was about to say. The Malmer are a very interesting race that are barely ever touched on.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the new expansion. I'm excited for this recent this update that's coming out soon. Yeah, I think this is going to be a great time.
All right, everybody. Well, we hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, share, subscribe. If you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell icon to ensure you get the notifications when we upload videos.
Yep. If you have any questions for us, send them right to Twitter as well. Our Twitter page is linked on the YouTube page as well.
Yeah, down in the description.
As well as check out our Reddit page if you are so inclined. We are currently in the stages of setting up a couple other things for all of us to interact on, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested. Thank you all for watching. This has been Spy
and Jack.
We'll see you all in the next video.